Alright, this video is going to be a little different, not too much. I'm putting the intro montage after the first game, so I knew about Better Discovery for a few months now, but I had never actually tried it. It is the best thing to happen to this platform in years. In my older videos about finding Roblox games, I always reference the website features that were removed, like being able to see a list of every game by player count and genre search. Well, here it is, and more, just like that. It even has new features like reviews and much more in-depth tags. You can sort by ratings, visits, recently updated, recently added, favorites, or even have it generate a random page of games. Also a working search by name system, which is sad that that's noteworthy. I said just like that, but I'm sure it took a decent amount of effort, and they made it into a pleasant experience too with the music. I do have some suggestions, nothing major, just more filter functionality. Like, let's say I wanted a random list of games, but at least a 7 user-rated score. Or let's say I wanted to load the list of recently added games, but only the ones that have maybe 20 players or more. Stuff like that, stacking filters and maybe even specific numbers if that's possible. But yeah, I'm not exaggerating at all when I say this is the best thing to happen to Roblox. I even used it to find one of the games on this list since I wanted to stop including so many PvP combat games. It is what I play, but, you know, at least something different. Running from the internet. This is a game I've played a lot. It's a different take on the whole Nextbot craze. Basically, it's a PvP and a PvE game, sometimes both at the same time. You can vote on game modes to decide which. Personally though, I think the game is a bit boring when it's just players versus bots. The reason why I like the PvP is it mostly boils down to timing slow-moving splash damage attacks against small and fast targets. So when you get a hit, it's pretty satisfying, especially with the cartoony impact visuals. There's a lot of feedback, like just a lot of sounds, things happening. The attacks themselves don't do much damage generally, but they stun enemies, which allows you to combo them. Plus they do knockback, which is just kind of fun to watch. Before the rounds start, you can pick which items you want to draw from whenever you collect a box. In the shop, you can buy new items too. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But one thing, if you don't make a full selection, it's going to give you random items, and some of them can be pretty bad. Like the wall. I don't see a purpose for the wall. What I used to do is, they patched this out. You used to be able to do a strat where you would stack your loadout completely with healing items and only have like the 3 or 2 attacks you actually like. And what would happen is, because you only ever get healing items when you're damaged, you would just get every attack you want all the time. And then as soon as you take damage, you would heal it back immediately. I could see why they nerfed it, but it was fun. Overall, the main appeal to me of the game is just the quality and the way the gameplay feels. It feels good to play, you know, running around, grabbing attacks, smashing people over the head with them. Especially during the elimination game mode where the stakes are higher, it feels fun. And that's why I kept coming back to this game, and that's why I'm recommending it to you. Also, if you like the Amen break, they do that a lot. The Flappy Men. This is a class-based team combat game where you fight over objectives. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. The main thing that makes it special is the chaotic atmosphere of it all. There are a variety of different effects and explosions that can destroy the maps, and if you get a server full of people, they're going to be going off rapid fire. Sometimes the maps themselves have events which can add to the chaos, like natural disasters in the case of the Florida map, or the aquarium bursting on the aquarium map. It's a fun game that doesn't take itself too seriously, which is great for a casual experience. It sort of borrows some aspects from TF2 with the classes, and there's this other older Roblox game that it might have taken inspiration from. I don't know if you guys have heard of Noobs vs Zombies, it kind of has that feel to it. Anyways, my personal favorite class was the Knight, since you can use the jetpack to drop bombs on people from the sky, plus you get the Super Ball as a finisher. There are a lot of classes in this game though, enough for me to never end up trying a few of them, despite playing this game for at least a year plus, on and off, not consistently. Also, tons of weapons for every class. You can go to the shop and swap them out, unlock new stuff. Again, it's kind of like TF2 in that aspect. You can fit different weapons into different slots for your different classes. In this one case, I just switched to the Scout class because I wanted to get gameplay of other classes, and I forgot that the drink I was using gave me like extreme knockback, so I would be hit by like a speck of dust and get sent into the void. If that is funny to you, you're gonna like the game. Stuff like that. Out of all the games on this list, this one has the lowest player count, and I'd like to see that change. I think this game deserves more attention. There is one thing though, it's more of a Roblox fault, I think, but because the game does include destruction, it can get pretty unresponsive at times, especially when the round and the server are old. I don't know why I'm trying to say it in a technical way. I don't know what's actually happening here. Just sometimes things aren't responsive, but it's still fun. Superstar Racers. This game is something special. For a Roblox game, it seems really polished, and I'm honestly surprised it isn't more popular. That's not to say it's unpopular though, it maintains a decent player count. When you first play this game, the difficulty might seem a bit unfair. A lot of maps have their own mechanics that aren't always intuitive. But once you play through the rotation a few times, you start to see what you could have done and where you went wrong. There was an especially funny example where I just didn't read the screen and the game was screaming at me to like use this mechanic that's specific to this map, and I just didn't do it. So I repeatedly died, falling into the void. And eventually I just stood there for a moment, wondering if I was stupid. They do try to point you in the right direction with arrows and signs, but if you're going by fast, it can be hard to notice. I honestly thought these were just props. That's no fault of the game though. They had a tutorial area that I completely skipped, but it didn't take long for me to learn how to play, and once I got it, it was super fun trying to compete for first place. This game kind of reminded me of Super Mario Galaxy with the different mechanics and variety of maps, plus the visuals sometimes. I like the surfboard on this one map. That's a fun thing to throw in there. Also, the soundtrack stood out to me as being especially good in this game. They really fit the style. If you're familiar with my videos, you know this isn't the type of game that I normally cover, but I'm glad I did, and I actually found it by searching for racing games in Better Discovery. Dogs of War. So this game has absolutely blown up in the time it took me to make this video. It was brought to my attention by a viewer in the comments. For reference, I could barely get a full server when I started working on this a week ago, and now the player count is at 700. It's 5 AM. It's safe to say that I missed the train on this one. The main appeal of the game is its very, very unique style, especially for Roblox. The commenter who recommended it to me compared it to the Telltale Walking Dead game. I personally haven't played that game though, so the first thing that came to me when I tried this was, okay, this is a reference that is probably not going to make nearly as much sense, but Toontown Online. The buildings just gave me that feel. I don't know if anyone's going to even know what that is. In terms of gameplay, it's pretty early in the game's development, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly. When I first played though, it felt like the iron sights didn't really work, and then I resorted to only hip firing. Eventually I came back around and realized the iron sights weren't that bad. My problem is that there isn't enough feedback when both taking and receiving damage. You get hit markers and damage indicators, but it doesn't quite feel like enough. Again, super early on, so I'm sure they're aware of this and they just haven't gotten around to it yet. I do like the loadout system. Rewarding players with better guns for performing well in the match seems unique. I'm not sure if that comes from another game, but I like it. I recommend you try it out. Just like all the other games on this list, play them.